put our heads together recently and decided that rather than having a mortgage update and an economic update, market update, we would kind of do it as a package because we think that they all kind of work together. So we have with us today Linnea, and she'll continue to be on this call, hopefully to do this on a monthly basis as we move forward. Of course, we have the much esteemed Stephen Thomas from Reports on Housing, who is going to lead us here today. And Linnea and I will kind of put our 2 cents in as we go along. So Stephen, you want to share your screen and kick it off?
Absolutely. Share screen. There we go.
Perfect.
What do I do with my clicker? There it is. All right. So let's just get right into some summer photo fun to start off with a little levity. And it's been a while, so I have a lot of photos because I'm doing these things all the time, but I thought this was interesting. House wine with Cheez-Its. This is McDonald's, right? Ain't messing around. Uber driver making sure I get some of that sweet AC in the back. That's weird. It's called quarantine coffee. It's just like normal coffee, but it has margarita in it and also no coffee. Warning, I've got some bad dad jokes coming. And in the end, mankind used so much toilet paper, they wiped themselves out. And then I have another one. Please do not use soda machine to wash your hands. No matter how tempting, don't you do it. Huh? Mountain Dew. All right. Just so you guys know my background, quantitative economic decision sciences major, UC San Diego, so right in your neck of the woods. 29 years in the business, Orange County native, Capitol Valley High School grad, 9 kids, avid runner. I brought 6. My wife brought 2. I adopted her. She adopted mine. We had this little guy and a dog during the quarantine. And I've been all over the place as far as press is concerned. And I have reports in LA, Orange County, Riverside, San Bernardino, and San Diego. I've been doing Orange County since 2004. And I've been tracking the rest of Southern California since 2012. And I mean, since, 2012. And then last year I launched LA, San Diego, San Bernardino, Riverside. And since we last spoke, these are the reports that I've done. It is why do some homes sit? And then the one after that was the rest of 2020. And the one that just came out, and this is minus San Bernardino, Riverside, because they get theirs the following week. I alternate along the coast and the inland empire. And then the latest one is a wave of foreclosures. And we're actually going to get into that, dive a little bit deeper. The 3 of us will discuss it a little bit more. And I do have a housing debrief that I do every Friday now. I was doing it Tuesdays and Fridays. This says Tuesday and Friday. I should have updated this because this was from 4 weeks ago. I only am doing them now on Fridays at 3 p.m. So let's get into the macroeconomic outlook. And people wonder, hey, Stephen, why are you looking at all these numbers relative to the housing market? And that's because what happens in the general economy happens to the rest of the local economy and to housing. So there's before coronavirus charts looked absolutely great. Then there's the after the disease. And then we're starting to get some America's back stuff. And there's more and more proof that the economy is humming along. One of them is global factory activity rebounds. And in the United States, that looks very V-shaped as far as manufacturing is concerned. And then we have the purchase application index. We care about that quite a bit. It's actually up 22% year over year, and has been had year over year great growth now for 12 weeks. And of course, everybody's talking about unemployment and the vast number of new unemployment initial claims. Last week, it was at 1.186 million, and that was the lowest since we went into this pandemic. But when you look in time, that still beats all of the Great Recession. So there's still some work to be done. This is the continuing unemployment insurance. And I also think, by the way, part of this initial unemployment claims is even if you did these if you claimed unemployment, you can go back as far as getting unemployment back retroactively. That's that $600 per week you can get retroactively. So that's why I think that these numbers are actually juiced, because the continuing unemployment insurance actually it's high. It's at 16.1 million, but it's not as high if you accumulate all of the people that had initial claims. So, but I do want to point out that 120 million people are employed. That's the corollary of the unemployment. And as far as the unemployment rate is concerned, you can see where we were prior to COVID-19. It was about 3.6. We got down to 3.5% in February. That was like an all-time low practically. Then it started to increase. We got to April at 14.7%. And July's reading now is at 10.2%. So it's almost at the highest for the Great Recession. It's coming down, and it's happening pretty quickly because remember, the Great Recession lasted several years and the impact of it. And as far as unemployment rates are concerned, we're down to 10.2. You can see we're matching around the Great Recession. It took a long time to come back. Look at this chart, how it escalated up and then it fell down. And that's what we're seeing in a lot of the charts is this one, once they dove, we're starting to see a V-shaped, and this is when you see a spike, you're seeing an equal spike down, so it almost looks like a thorn. That is very, very rare, and that's because we haven't really experienced this forced stoppage in the overall economy. And then let's talk about evictions and what we're seeing in evictions. And this is a great segue for Mike and Linnea to talk a little bit about what they've heard. And so go ahead, take it away, Mike.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. I was reading a lot of stuff this week, just trying to prepare for this, and I found a lot of articles pertaining to eviction. Obviously, this also has to do with stimulus. Are they going to continue to allow people to stay in these homes without evicting them, all that sort of stuff? But the biggest headline I read was 40 million Americans preparing to be evicted. And I thought that was an interesting statistic because that would basically mean 1 in 8 Americans are preparing for eviction. That seems like a lot of people. So I decided to do a real world test on it, and I called a property manager and who manages a good number of homes. Let's call it in the hundreds of homes in Orange County. And I just asked, what's your real world take on this eviction issue? Do you have issues within your pipeline? And what I found was that he had said that there was approximately 4 of the hundreds of properties that they managed that they reworked the rental in the beginning, April and May. So for instance, one person, they cut the rent in half for 2 months and then they tacked it on at the end. Another person, they lowered the rent from $2,350 to $200, but that was only 4 cases in all of the portfolio. And just a reminder, these are single family homes in Orange County. As of August 1st, every single one of the homes under management were paying rent on time at the full rate, which I thought was just astounding. I thought I was going to hear at least like a 10% breakage or something like that, but 100% were paying. So it points, I'll kick it back to you, Stephen, on this thought process, but it points to the thought process that the people that have been most affected by this, and we've talked about this a lot, are really the lower income segment, and probably more of the individuals who are living in apartments versus living in a single family residence in the areas that we serve. So I'll kick it back to you on that.
Yeah, so what I'm saying is that this is what everybody's talking about, this 1/5 of US tenants at risk of eviction. And keep in mind, this is just sheer estimates, and the estimates tend to be a little bit over exaggerated. Part of it are these headlines. Well, we talked about headlines last time we talked, Mike, and here's some headlines. 1/3 of American renters expected to miss their August payment. How about this one? 32% of Americans had outstanding housing payments at the beginning of August. And they try to lump homeowners into this, and I was super ticked at this article. I thought it was disingenuous, and this is CNBC does this for headlines a lot. Although I like some of what CNBC brings to the table, I didn't care for this article at all. Let me show you what that means, that 32%. Let's first look at the payment tracker for full month results. If you look at this is 2019. How many people paid by the end of the month for April, May, June, and July? And then you compare that to 2020. If you see that, July of 2019 was at 96.6. And in July of 2020, it was at 95.7%. And for June, it was 95.9%, very close to June of 2019. You could see, yes, there are a fewer people paying, but it's not nearly what the headlines make it out to be. And this is what fuels those headlines. This is as of the week ending the 6th of, and they do this is this payment tracker, and this is actually done by a national apartment site. And what they show here is, as of August 6th, only 79.3% have paid their mortgage on time. Well, if you look at that, that's kind of the story. And even last year, you had July of last year, 79.7% paid on time, which meant there's a lot of people that didn't pay on time. So then they extrapolate that out across the United States. And that's where they come up with these grotesque headlines. And you know who did it first was actually the Wall Street Journal. I was super ticked about that. That was actually the very, very beginning of this in April. They ran this article, and I thought that is so wrong that they're because it went from 82.9% to 78%. So there was a little bit of a difference, but not. Look at the difference now: 81.2% last August to 79.3%. So yes, fewer, but not near. It's not the story. There's not this deluge of people not paying. And yes, they've already paid. So we have until September to get something done in Congress, and they kind of know it, which is why they're dragging their feet. So it doesn't look. It looks awful on paper, and everybody is very polarizing issue. But there is actually time. And speaking of a stimulus, they need a stimulus package done, and I'll go ahead, and that's my segue once again for you to chime in.
Yeah, so stimulus, I think it's interesting. You know, we kind of talked about this yesterday, but I get the feeling that what is occurring is that, you know, the Senate and the House are quibbling over talking points, and so the president just goes out and says, well, guess what? I'm going to do these 5 things. Now, there's a real legal question of whether or not he can actually do what he's saying. The headline this morning was that he says that the new $400 increase in unemployment is going to be in effect within 2 weeks, and probably would be retroactive back to the 29th of July. You know, can he actually do this? Maybe, but the point is that they're really fighting over whether or not money should be going to state and local governments, especially ones who have not been spending money appropriately for a long time and who have gotten themselves in trouble during this situation. I don't think it's a secret that our state here in California may be one of those states they're targeting. But the reality is that I think President Trump just said, forget about what you guys are quibbling about. I'm getting money to the people who need it. And so it's going to be interesting to see whether or not he can do that. But in reality, they need to get a deal done. And I think we talked about this. They need to get another thing done. This goes back to Stephen, Linnea. We talked about this yesterday. I believe that we all kind of understand now that COVID is going to be around for a while. There's not some magic pill that's going to come out in the next few months that automatically makes it go away. So we have to deal with that. And so the government has to continue to pull the economy along to a certain degree and to help those people that are truly affected. And those people are, for the most part, lower income families. And I think Stephen, you and I are on the same page that they're going to get some sort of stimulus done, and it's going to come sooner than later.
Yeah. Go ahead,
Can I just say one thing about forbearance and how it relates to foreclosures? All right. So when I read, along with you, I'm reading everything in the news every day that comes across as why they think there's going to be this huge increase in foreclosures. And one of the main reasons is forbearance that's been offered for 3 months was widespread, at the beginning of this, like 3 months ago. But the drop off on forbearance is huge, except in the area of the people that are now requesting in certain areas. Forbearance goes from 3 months to a year. So those are the lower income clients in our industry that have really, their income has dropped to maybe they're completely unemployed. But are not going to see that much in California along the coast here, because we don't have that $100,000 and $200,000 sales prices, $300,000 sales prices, and those is really where you're seeing it the most. So I'm having clients already asking that when I'm taking loan applications that, in 6 months or a year, maybe I should wait to buy because, prices are going to drop. And I do believe that in some areas of the country where they have a lot of low income housing, that will happen because those people have been hurt larger percentage wise by the unemployment. That where we are, we have that clientele is really renters, like you said, and they're not home buyers. So I don't think that's going to happen in California along the coast, maybe inland in some of the areas, but not where we are. So we need to explain that to the clients who are thinking that prices are going to drop hugely here in 6 months or a year, like they're seeing in the news, and how we're not going to be affected by that as much. And the forbearance that's been extended to that year, those are the ones they're anticipating now are going to have a trouble re-amortizing those loans and paying it back, even though they're putting it on the end. So I think that's another talking point that we need to make very clear, that we don't think that's going to happen here in California.
I couldn't agree with you more, Linnea. This whole concept of forbearance probably has an effect on people who are simply, lower income, and they really are going to take advantage of this for the purposes of staying in their homes. But in California, we just don't have that. The second piece of that is that even if somebody's in forbearance, and if they end up going into foreclosure, there's a high likelihood that they have significant equity in the home, and thus they're going to be able to get through that and come out the other side. And in the worst case scenario, it provides us with some inventory that we can sell the homes and get them equity out of the property. So, hey, Linnea, do you mind commenting on the overall mortgage market real quick, and just where you see the market?
Well, I have a spot for her on that for sure when we get to the interest rates.
Perfect.
Yeah, I definitely. But I wanted to get back to that $400. Steve Mnuchin actually just walked that back and said it's now $300 because the state governments, they would have to redo their entire systems, and they don't have the time for it. And it would also take a lot of legislation at the state level. So he's saying that rather than it be $400, it's really $300. Okay. So that's the latest as of this morning as well. It's just this constant evolution. They just need to get back and hammer out a deal. So now we're at 300. So at least that's where we know the White House is. Let's see where the whole thing goes. So, and as far as coronavirus is concerned around the world, so the last time that we talked, it was 11,863,000 cases around the world. It's now at 20,400,000 cases. So that's about 5 weeks ago that we spoke, Mike. And then we were averaging 193,000 cases for the last 7 days, and now it's 249,000 cases. But you can see right now we're right at that 250,000 mark where it's actually hitting another plateau. And this is worldwide, the number per day. The last plateau that we had was around 80,000 cases, and that was when we were first getting all into this, and we were in April. So, and the United States, you can see this looks a lot better. So 2,998,000 last time we spoke, and now it's at 5,161,000 in the United States. And the average number of cases was at 51,000. That was 6 weeks ago. Guess where it's at today? 53,000. So it's very close to where it was. Went all the way up and it's coming down again. So hopefully this keeps on going down like Europe. I'd like to see that it continues to go down, that we're just, we do what they're doing over at Europe, and they're just social distancing, masks and things like that. So, because this is what it looks like, us versus Europe. You can see, yes, they've started to have their bit of a spike. It's just rolling uphill, but that we want to come down and meet their little blue curve. And as far as COVID-19 deaths per 100,000, United States were fourth. Remember how there was a giant problem in Italy? They're not even on this chart anymore. It's United Kingdom, Peru, Chile, United States. Mexico is having a real issue as well. They don't even have that many cases as us, so your chances of survival in Mexico is not that great because of their hospitalization system. We have a lot of cases, and our hospitals are able to keep a lot of people alive, but we still, because of the number of cases, we still have quite a few. And then as far as, this was our COVID-19 test, so we wanted to see testing get below 5%. So 6 weeks ago, we were at 7.9% positivity rate, and as of today, we're at 7.5%. So we actually went all the way up to 10% and then started it to come back down. We got down to 6-point-something%. Now we're back up to 7.5%. We need to see more testing done. And what they're saying is that we need about 1 million to 1.5 million tests per day on average in order for us to get that down, and we can do contact tracing. And I'm hoping that's where at least we get in California so we can unlock things. And as far as California is concerned, you can see this is our curve. We have not really hit a plateau and come down, but now we finally have. We were 284,000, about 5 weeks ago, when it's at 586,000. So a lot happened since the last time we spoke, which is why we all were hunkering down again and things changed. 7,500 cases per was the average for the last 7 days. That was 5 weeks ago. It's now at 7,500. So we're back to where we were 5 weeks ago, and it's headed in the right direction. So just these are what the numbers look like. Hospitalizations have gone way down. As far as California county cases, number 1 in California is LA at 212,000. It's number 2 in the United States. Number 2 in California is Riverside. They're number 12 in the US. OC is 41,000. They're number 14 in the US. San Bernardino, 37,000, number 16 in the US. They're number 4. And then number 5 is San Diego, and they're number 18. What's interesting, the last time I did this with you guys, San Diego's at 30. They've only added 3,000 cases. So whatever San Diego's doing, I think the rest of Southern California needs to follow suit, because you guys haven't figured it out in San Diego. And OC was awful. Where I live in Linnea Ranch. We went from 18 cases to 122 cases. And that doesn't seem like a lot, but there are not that many people that live here. So it was like this really weird time to go outside and see a whole bunch of people without masks and stuff like that, because that's what was going on in Linnea Ranch. As far as unlocking things, we don't know, because the California system is broken. I don't know if you know it, but they have a California health czar, I guess you can call her. She actually stepped down. That's because their system was broken. And this is the state health department, freezes coronavirus watch list. So if you're in coronavirus watch list, you can't get out of it right now. And the reason for that is because the computer system broke. Actually, they had a server break. They had to try to come back online. Now there's a lag in reporting. 300,000 lab results haven't been reported to the system. So if you figure that out, it's not gigantic, because even if you do 7, that's what, 2,100, right? If I do remember.
21,000.
21,000. But that's over a big period of time. So yeah, there's going to be more positives and things like that. But you know what? At the end of the day, we're going in the right direction, because we know hospitalizations is going in the right direction. That's what I go by. So hospitalizations. So, but we can't even get a good handle on hospitalizations either, because if you remember that the administration changed it from gosh, the one entity to the health entity of all this reporting. So it's all messed up there as well.
Awesome.
So this is good old the Capitol here in California. They need to figure out what's going on. They need to get their act together. That's it. And wear a mask. And this is why we want to wear a mask. And I showed you guys where you can get those masks done. And my father-in-law owns a pizza place. All of them have Ballpark Pizza Team on their masks. And it was the same place that I went. Very, very nice cotton. They feel good on your face. But this is the projections, daily infection and testing. So you can see what happens if we ease and we did nothing. That's that red line. If we just went back to normal, that would suck. See that? 900,000 cases per day. That'd be stupid. So if we wore masks, you can see we're going to do a lot better. Things will go up a little bit because of the second wave that's supposed to supposedly come in November, towards the end of October. And most likely we're going to be not doing our fair share. So it's the projection is that brown line. And I don't even know if you call that brown. And this is daily deaths. You can see it would skyrocket if we went back to normal. So this is why we're not going back to normal. And this is why we all watch this, we get it. But we wear masks, everything looks good. We just want to avoid that second wave. So let's get into the Southern California market. Housing is hot. It's ridiculous hot. I was losing adjectives. Molten lava hot. How's that? So that's my latest adjective. Because people were saying that I say, you're saying too many of the same things, sizzling hot. And so molten lava, how about that? That's new. And this is Southern California active listing inventory. This is where we are right now. You can see the last time we were here was April of 2013. Does anybody remember 2013? I do. It was lame because there was not enough homes on the market. That is what we're experiencing right now. This lame lack of inventory on the market. I am so concerned because that was April 2013. We started to ratchet up the number of homes after April of 23, actually after March, started going up. And that's that, if you see that orange line where it meets the little white space in the very left-hand side, it actually goes up after that. That is not what we're going to do. I am so concerned that the start to 2021 is going to be not enough homes on the market. And because this is where we are right now. And last Thursday, it was 25,572. Is down 2% in 2 weeks. Last year, we were at 43,543. That's 69% more. And I know that you guys have all my latest data. You guys are going to be coming up with some more interesting charts and pieces, marketing pieces that you can get out there, and just stuff that you can post to social media and get to your clients. It's pretty cool. But last year, that's 69% more. And if you look at it, our normal peak is right around here, the beginning of July. This is where we peaked in 2020. That was a while back ago, and we're going the wrong direction. Every time I look at it, it's going down. So where are we going to go for the rest of the year? It's going to go down. It's not going to go down at a steep clip, but still, it's going to be going down. And then we're going to get to the holidays. It's going to go down even more. So how about the number of new for sale signs? You are the first ones that I'm bringing this to. This is July. So I did a study, and I did April, May, June, July, saw what the number of homes placed on the market compared to the 5-year average and compared to last year. I'm just going to compare this to last year. That's all I care about right now, right? LA is actually up 1%, the number of homes coming on the market. Orange County's up 2% in July compared to last year. Riverside down 2%. San Bernardino, they're the ones that throw off all my stats. They still are having a problem with COVID-19 affecting number of homes coming to market. San Diego, up 1%. So what does that mean? That means that COVID-19 is no longer suppressing supply, except for San Bernardino. So it's no longer has a grip. Homeowners are no longer, there are probably some homeowners out there saying, I'm not placing my home on the market. There's other homeowners going, I'm cashing in on this market. So I think that's what we're hearing. So there's some people that are coming on the market that weren't thinking about it before. And there's some people that were thinking about doing it and are not going to do it. Now it's a wash. So that's good news as far as homes coming on the market.
Well, what you're saying, Stephen, is that even though our supply issue is no longer supposedly an issue because we're placing homes on the market at the same rate as we were last year, the consumption of those homes is so high that the actual active inventory is still dropping.
Yeah, because we saw it. We actually placed the same number of homes on the market over the whole course of this expansion from 2012 all the way through right up until we hit COVID-19. We had the same number of homes coming on the market. And what happened in 2018, December, we hit 5% interest rates. We learned that we are very interest rate sensitive. And now I'm going to argue that our interest rate sensitivity, as bar was 5%, it's now lower. It's lowering the longer we're at these lower levels. So I'm going to argue that 4% might be that new bar. We're going to have to see. The longer we're playing in these twos, the more that 5 lowers. So yeah. So really, what we're doing is we have such low interest rates that it's pushing everything into escrow. Back in 2018, when we had 5% interest rates in December, what happened was all the homes that were coming on the market were staying on the market. Demand was low, right? Linnea, wasn't demand low in 2018?
Yes. We're very interest rate sensitive, very.
And even in the beginning of 2019, people are going, what happened in 2019? It was called, we had way too many homes on the market at the very beginning, and we had interest rates to start off the year at 4.5%.
Right.
So, and I'll give you a moment, we're going to hit those interest rates, but molten lava, that's where our demand is. COVID-19 is not suppressing demand. It hasn't for a long time. And this is Southern California demand. I draw a line across, look, 2012. So highest since June of 2012. And look at that demand. It is off the charts practically compared to where we've been in recent years. So last Thursday, 21,508. Up 1% in 2 weeks. So it's not going up at a super fast clip, but last year we were at 16,437. That's the purple line. That's 24% less demand last year than where we are right now. That's escrows.
Steven, I got a question for you. Go back to that.
Yeah.
I'd like for you, maybe for next month's report, let's look at a cumulative effect of how many homes we lost during COVID and now how many sales we're gaining, and compare it to year over year to see year over year, how long is it going to take us before 2020 actually outpaces 2019 as far as the number of homes that we actually sell. Does that make sense?
I'm going to do that anyway. That's very interesting. I love that. I will do that, a whole analysis, because I know this. I know for the month of July, we're up. Year over year, we're up for Orange County and Los Angeles up. And I'm not going to, I think those are the slides that you're actually coming up with. So I didn't put them in here because I don't want to take away the thunder of what we're coming up with at Pacific Sotheby's. Is they're going to do these pieces that you're going to have these pieces that are going to be in conjunction with when all the papers start reporting it. You're going to have wonderful pieces talking about closed sales data, because we already have the closed sales data for it. I can tell you this, up, and especially in the higher ranges, way up. So here it's now. This is when you place your home on the market, right now. And the reason for that is we're running out of runway. My kids are going back to school. So, but I have this sneaking suspicion that there are going to be people, because we're stuck at home anyways, that there's going to be people that are motivated by these low interest rates that are going to say, well, shoot, my kids aren't even in school anyways. In school, they're at home learning. Let's go ahead and purchase something. So I actually think demand typically goes down. It's just not going to go down at the same rate, is what I'm thinking. So yes, kids are going back to school. There will be demand will drop, but so will the supply. Supply drops. So sorry to say that, but that it will impede the number of homes that we place into escrow, which is a demand, which actually shows demand. If we had more homes coming on the market, we would place them into escrow just because of where rates are right now. And this is where demand usually peaks. So this leads to the question of what you're asking, Mike. So we lost all of those, and April and May looked stupid closed sales wise. So what does June was looking a little bit better. July looks better. August is going to even look better, and it's going to outpace it. So how long is it going to take as we outpace it and let that missing chunk of pendings, how long will it take? I'll do that analysis. I think that'd be very interesting. So, but this is where we're going to go. We're going to go down, but are we going to go down that much? This is where we normally go down demand, but I think because we're at home doing this at home learning, with computers and all that stuff, it's going to go down a little bit less. The curve's going to be a little bit less. So we're actually going to place more into escrow. So we're going to have a more robust fall market, autumn market, as well as holiday market. Because we're just in the home all the time, so it feels the same. And somebody said it wasn't summer long, and I'm sitting there thinking, no, actually summer felt short. It feels like the same thing over and over again, Groundhog Day, over and over and over again. So as far as this is demand or expected market time, if you look, so we have such low supply and we have high demand, but the two together factor in the expected market time. Actually, for Southern California, it's the lowest since I've tracked it in 2012 for Southern California. That's it. Unbelievable. So Southern California expected market time year over year, this is where we're at. It is low. It is at 36 days. That is down 1 from 2 weeks prior. So that's, if you come on the market now, when are you going to go into escrow? 36 days. That sounds short, doesn't it? Even the upper ranges, and of all the upper ranges, San Bernardino, Riverside are really hot in their upper ranges. They're 650,000 plus. But out of all of Southern California, San Diego is the hottest, above 1.25 million. Their 1.25 to 1.5 million is actually like almost a hot seller's market. Mm-hmm. That is unbelievable. So SoCal last year, we were at 79 days expected market time. That's the difference between last year and this year. Just it's molten lava on fire. And this is the expected market time. Where are we going to go? Probably going to go up a little bit, but not much. We're going to stay in a hot seller's market for the remainder of the year. And then we hit the holidays and things slow down. It'll still be a hot seller's market. We'll place anything that comes on the market in December into escrow. So LA is at a 41-day expected market time. Now it's down 2 from the 2 weeks prior. Orange County is at 45 days, down 1. Riverside County is at 30 days. That was actually flat. San Bernardino County is at 26 days, flat. And San Diego is at 31 days, down 3. 30 days is dumb. That's all I have to say. Because how long does it take for you to place things into escrow and negotiate deals and all that stuff? Shoot. Sometimes it can take like 10 days when you're sorting through 50 offers. So that's a hot market. So market overview, let's get into, it is a fantastic time to sell. It's a fantastic time to sell because there's a line of buyers waiting for homes to come on the market. And home values are going up. I'm sorry, I was saying it early that home values are going up, and it was contrary to what all the reports, including Realtor.com and even CAR was saying. I'm going, I don't even know where these people are getting this from. It's a supply and demand issue. It is a supply and demand issue. We have tremendous demand and very low supply. It favors sellers and pricing. And it is also a great time to buy. Why? Because of mortgage interest rates. And this is where mortgage interest rates were as of last Thursday across the United States. The survey done for 49 years, record low, 2.88%, which is a segue for Linnea. Where are interest rates going?
Well, we talked about this a little bit yesterday, but I don't see interest rates going up in the next 6 months at all, because interest rates are tied to the economy. And as long as COVID's around, the economy is going to be struggling. It's not bad, but it's not going to be booming. So it's keeping it suppressed, and that keeps interest rates suppressed because the government can't let them go up, because then that will just hurt the economy that much. And that goes right along to home buyers. Home buyers buy not because there's supply and demand, but there's also affordability. And what the interest rates have done is made the more expensive houses more and more affordable. So somebody that now can sell and buy up at a much smaller margin than they were in the past. So those sellers are selling their less expensive houses and buying more expensive houses at the very low interest rates and very affordable, knowing those are 30-year fixed, and it's an easy sell. I mean, when I'm talking to home buyers every day and I figure their payment for them, they all go, wow, I thought it would be higher than that. So yes, it's pushing those buyers from one price point to another is easy as it can be. And I'm really seeing it all depends on what happens in the spring and how long COVID lasts. But at least as long as COVID's here, we're going to have low interest rates in the twos. And it's going to last longer, I think, than we thought. When it starts to go up, that's when we'll have to take a new look at what's going to happen in the housing market. So with everybody refinancing, so we're not only looking at purchases, we're looking at refinancing. So it's increasing people's spendable income. So anybody that bought a year to 3 years ago, 4 years ago, they're all refinancing and lowering their payments by a lot. Over a percentage point, their interest rates going down. There's a huge, huge difference in what they're paying. So it's like an increase in income. And when they're looking at that, some of them are then deciding to sell and buy up because they can afford it. Others are just refinancing and taking the benefit of it. But when those people now go into the housing market, when interest rates start going up, it's going to be more difficult for them. Does that make sense?
Dialogue. Yeah, that's a dialogue you really need to have with homeowners out there, your friends and family, and just show them what their payments look like for various price points. So they go, oh my gosh, are you kidding? So maybe I should look at purchasing a little bit more of a house.
And not only that, but you know, for those people out there who get it in their head that somehow the market is going to become distressed, the market's going to become distressed in the event that interest rates go up. And so if that's the case, and you say to yourself, all right, well, I'm going to wait till the market goes down. Well, how much is it going to go down? I mean, even if you wait a year and somehow we get higher interest rates and the market softens and we get a slight wave of foreclosures and the market drops by, call it 10%, but your interest rate has now gone from 3 to 4. I'm sorry, but you're going to still be paying more on a monthly basis just to try to get that 10% drop, and it's going to offset. So, I mean, if you're in the market to buy, because rates are historically just incredible,
and values are not going down.
No.
Well, but what we talked about is even if they do go down 1% or if they level off even, you're going to be losing, because the only reason they're going to level off or go down a tad is if interest rates go up. And a lower interest rate at a higher payment is much more beneficial in the long run than a lower sales price with higher interest rates.
That's right.
So when you sit down and figure that for the buyers, they see what you're talking about, and you can get them out of that waiting thing to wanting to sell and buy now. And the other thing is, a lot of those houses coming on the market are just not people that are taking advantage of selling their house for more. It's people that are selling and buying up. Huge amount of the people that are buying up are also selling. So it's been, that's why it's been such a great summer. It's, you know, you're getting both the seller and the buyer, which is great.
Yeah. Linnea, can you just give us a quick overview of product? What does the mortgage product look like today versus, let's say, a month ago? Is it pretty similar?
You mean interest rates and what's out there?
No, just
types
of loans.
Jumbo. Okay, let's talk about jumbo, because jumbo has come back a little bit, but there are very, very few 90% loans. It's really hard. They want quality. Everybody's looking for quality. They're tighter on their qualifications. They're looking for a buyer that is really qualified to buy that house, so that no matter what, because the big banks are really afraid of the economy in a year, and that's really affecting the way they're looking at it and their liquidity. All right, so they have a less liquidity, and they're really concerned about the market in the future. So they're looking for a very high quality buyer who's putting at least 20% down, and they really like 25 or 30% down, and they like a buyer with money in their bank. So they like all of those issues. When you get to Fannie, Freddie, and the government-backed loans, those are the ones with the really low interest rates and simple, I mean, the qualifying's a little bit harder, but very much the same. So that market is booming because it's huge. But when you're getting to our jumbo market, which we're looking for, more and more people are looking for 90% loans. So we're trying to find alternate ways for them to get that money, like going into their 401ks or their IRAs and taking money out of there, which is a better investment, and then moving it into their house, which is a better investment to move to a house and put the 20% down. So yes, and we're seeing that, and I don't see an end to that right away. That looks like something that we're going to be having for a while, as long as at least until forbearance lasts. And that probably won't go away till COVID goes away. So we're seeing a more conservative jumbo lenders in the banks. The portfolio lenders are still at 80%. So we're looking at that. Cash is king right now. So the more cash you have to put down, the better the terms, the better the loan, everything about it.
That's fantastic. Thanks for that update. I love hearing it. Matter of fact, I jotted down something when you were talking because I thought of a new report to write.
Good.
So I thank you for that. Let's get into foreclosures. Speaking of negative things, what are you hearing, Linnea, with the potential of foreclosures?
Well, it's all over the news in the mortgage industry that foreclosures, because of, and I'm sorry, I talked about that too early, because of
Yes, it
forbearance
is.
that is going to push people into that year-long, loss of their mortgage payments, where it has to be put on the back end. So it'll take away some of their equity. And foreclosures, they're all saying, beware, be ready for the foreclosure boom. I don't see it happening in our marketplace because the supply is down, demand is still going to be up, and unless interest rates go crazy, which how in the world can they? Our economy, no matter what in the next year, is not going to just boom. We've got an issue that we've got to deal with. So I see interest rates staying under 4%, maybe in the back to the mid threes. Going into the middle and end of next year if COVID goes away. But even at that, we're not going to see foreclosures here. We may in some of the other states where they have a lot more low income housing, where buyers have gotten in with Fannie Freddie loans with 3 or 5% down or no money down, the first time home buyer loans. But we haven't seen those that much in San Diego because the pricing is too high for that. Or in Orange County, where the entry-level housing prices are not there to let that buyer come in at 3 or 5%. They want more 5% up to 700,000 or 20% over that. So I don't see, we'll have some foreclosures like we always do, but that's normal in any marketplace. I do not see us being dealing with that problem here in our area.
Yeah, I'm asked all the time, when are these foreclosures, this wave? That's why I wrote the latest report is all about a wave of foreclosures, and the answer is no. This is Southern California distressed listings. You see where we're at, where we were at back in 2012, and that's when I started to do Southern California. I was in Orange County all the way since 2004, so I saw the entire wave, and I actually kept track of all the foreclosures and short sales. And you can see where we're at. We're on the right-hand side of the difference between where we were at in 2012 to today is there's nothing in the tank as far as the number of active listings that are foreclosures or short sales. And this is, I actually see, I've tracked it from Orange County. From 2012, where I started doing it, that's where that orange bar is. That's a snapshot. So it kind of looks like that, right? Coming down really sharp. That's where it was. Well, it went even higher, way higher. Then it came down because remember when we had these different programs where first-time home buyer programs where if you bought, you got like $8,000 off of your taxes or something ridiculous like that. They were trying to stir some demand. And that's where we saw our distress go down, then it would expire, then it would go back up. And then we hit 2012 and everything started looking really good because there were people that if you bought a house and rented it out, you were cash flow positive in Southern California along the coast. So that's why the market just totally took off. But if you see, there was a lot of homes that were foreclosures. Look at that, close to 6,000 active listings just in Orange County alone. And where I did this last one, it was not even 12,000. So you could see back in 2008, it was a real problem. And that's where we were back in 2008. So as far as forbearance is concerned, it's actually dropped from 7.67% to 7.44%. It's 3.7 million mortgages, and it's 8 weeks of consecutive drops after peaking. So it's coming down really slowly. 3.7 million is a lot. I'm not going to disguise that as it being nothing, a drop in the bucket. There are a lot. However, this is something that people need to understand. I got this from Keeping Current Matters. This is actually taken from Black Knight, a data aggregator, and it's 77% of all people in forbearance have at least 20% equity, which means they can tap into their equity and sell their houses if they needed to. So people need to understand that. There's only, if you look on the right-hand side, 9% between 0 and 10% equity and 1% with negative equities. That means only 10% are actually exposed to the marketplace. And if you looked at that, right, that is 3.7 million. So you're looking at 370,000, but not 100% of those are going to become foreclosures. Some of them are figuring things out. They're working things out. So that's going to be a small ripple effect. It's not going to be this gigantic wave, because existing home prices are actually going up right now. And it's just, they're going up in some places as fast as their payments on a monthly basis. So they're like in a wash when they turn around and sell, they'll be able to sell it. But we need to ask everybody if they're in forbearance. If they were in forbearance, did they defer it? If they did, it went to the back of their loan, they're going to have to pay it back at the end of the mortgage. It's going to go on that. It's going to go on that net sheet. And if they go and sell. So we need to ask them, were you in forbearance? And if so, how did you exhaust that? Did you pay them back? Or, because in your case, Linnea, didn't you say yesterday that some people were in forbearance? They went, oops, we need to refi, take advantage of these rates. What have they done with that, Linnea?
Well, when you're talking about the forbearance, it's gone down every month, like you said, tremendously, or every week. But that's the ones that were doing the short-term forbearance, and that were doing it like it's just the convenient thing to do. Why not do it? Most of those people didn't need to go in forbearance, because we were talking, we would have people call and they wanted to refinance, and we'd say, well, are you in forbearance? Yes. We say, sorry, then you can't refi. And they say, oh, we'll pay it back tomorrow. And they would quick pay it back so they could refi. So these were people that were electing to go into forbearance because it was a convenient, easy thing to do. Miss your payment for 90 days, have free money. What they're talking about now, though, the ones that are going in foreclosure are not that. That's not the person. The person that's getting these are the long-term forbearance ones that are going to go to the year. But no, I agree. And then the other thing is people in California have so much equity in their homes that if you looked at the amount of equity in homes in California, those people are not going into foreclosure, because they'll just, like you say, they'll just sell their house. But in other states across the United States, there are a lot of people, because you have to go to you can't go over a $500,000 loan to get a 100% loan or a 97% loan. So the low amount of equity when people are buying homes is limited to 500,000 loan amount. And we don't have much of that left in California. That's all in many of the Midwestern states or the middle states. And so that's why we won't be hit as hard, because once you get over that, you have to have at least 5% equity to buy a house, 5% down. And once you're over 700, you have to have 20%. So that's why it's not going to really affect us that much.
Exactly. Interesting. So I know it's extremely frustrating being a buyer. There's nothing, but it's a recession. I call it a pandession. It's a pandemic-led recession, so it's a pandession. So we're not, that's why we're seeing these B shapes, and you saw the spike in unemployment, and now it's coming down, and it looks like a thorn. That's because of the fact that we've not been here before. So everybody was automatically looking at the Great Recession thinking, that's how this is going to go down. I'm going, no, it's not. I had agents tell me it's going to go down 10% in the next 90 days. And I said, no, it's not. And I got into nice debates, not heated, but just little things back and forth so that they can understand it's a supply and demand thing. We've had a supply problem this whole entire time throughout the pandemic. And as far as recessions leading to values going down, in 1991, that was savings and loan scandal. Yes, we went down. It was led by housing and financing. 2008, that was led by subprime and pick a payment plan and financing and bad investments that were just the tranches of mortgages that were bought around the world. That thing brought the whole entire world down. But it was us in real estate land and lending land that caused this, and then investors, they caused that. We're not in that not even close. So we remember what that burn feels like. We all do. So now, and the lenders do too. So now everybody's ultra careful. They've saved up for it. They're not using their homes as piggy banks. And we now know how to wear our sunscreen. We're not cashing out our equity and going on big cruises and buying boats and RVs and things like that. And and understand unemployment. I know it's a very, very bad thing out there, but I want everybody to see this chart. This chart means it all right here. Look at this. So if you have a bachelor degree, unemployment from December 2019 to today, the number of job losses down 2%. How about, so really, it's the people that are 16 to 24. They're down 20.6%. They are the vast majority of it. My daughter's boyfriend is a server at a BJ's pizza place. He can't go to work. He's unemployed right now. So he fits that 16 to 24-year-old. And that is, those 16 to 24-year-olds are not home buyers. They're renters. And so we're just gonna get this little bit of a wake of distress. It's not going to be enough where anybody's going to understand that it's even happening. And yes, you'll get the headlines that it's more, but it's nothing. So I think we covered all the different things that we were going to talk about, right?
We did pretty well.
Good. So I do have a business page at Reports and Housing. I'm constantly putting up stuff there, and then I have a lot of my stuff. You need content to give your buyers that are being knuckleheads. Then go to youtube.com/reportsonhousing. And I do have my debriefs. Shouldn't say Tuesday. It's just Fridays at 3. So I don't know if we have enough time for Q&A.
Even I have to go back and correct you on something.
Oh, yes.
You said that we're not doing stupid things and buying certain things like boats. My understanding is that car sales are actually through the roof right now. And the one thing that you said that nobody's buying, RVs.
No. I didn't say that. I didn't say they're buying them from tapping out their equity.
Right.
That's what I meant. People are buying RVs. We went on an RV trip.
Yeah, everybody's buying an RV. Not me.
And sales are way up for autos. No, I'm talking about cash out refinances.
Yeah.
And Linnea, are you having just this deluge of cash out refinances?
Well, there's not as many cash out refinances as you would think, because jumbo loans are really have cut down on cash out refis. We're seeing cash out refis, Fannie and Freddie, and not nearly as many as the past. So people are being much more conservative, which is another reason, that I think that this isn't going to hit us as hard when it starts to turn around.
Yes.
That
Right.
people that are some of them are taking small amounts of cash out because it's so cheap. That's right.
Right. That's right. Have any questions down here? Let's see real quick. No, once again, they're just telling us we have great information. We have recorded this, everybody, so this information will be on Blue. You can access it at any time. Share this with your clients who are being knuckleheads, or send them to YouTube to go watch Stephen Thomas, because this is the real information. I want to go back to one statistic. The consumer is asking, well, what about forbearance and what about distress? 77% of all forbearances have at least 30% equity. Those don't represent homes that, even if they went into foreclosure, would pose a risk to our economy. I want you to understand that those banks are going to get paid that money back either through a foreclosure or through the sale of the property. This is not the Great Recession. I would also suggest that with the actual pressure and the number of offers on homes out there, the price of properties is going up very rapidly today. So if you project out to 7 or 8 months when the year of forbearance will be up, you could see another 7 to 8% increase in pricing, maybe even more. And so in the event that that's the case, that 77% could turn into 85 or 90% in the 30% range. So I think we got to just discard this idea that we're going to have some big wave of foreclosures. It's just not reality.
Yeah, there has to be some other shock to the system. And I think pandemic's a pretty huge shock. So the only way I can see this happening is if we had a really bad second wave, which I don't think we're going to have, because we're already prepared. Even if we started seeing a second wave come on, I think we'd all wear our masks and socially distance ourselves.
That's right.
But I want to say for 2021, my concern is that what you just said, Mike, too much appreciation. That to me is too much appreciation. I want to see a steady 2 to 3% appreciation right now. And because I see it as the storyline is going to be not enough homes on the market for some time. And it's going to be, I think we might even beat 2013's lack of supply at the very beginning of the year for Southern California. I think San Diego is going to beat it. Orange County is going to beat it. I think Riverside's going to beat it, where it's going to be lower than those record years, and which that's not great, right? We need more homes on the market.
Not really, but
Yes.
make sure the sun is shining.
Yes.
Exactly. All right. With that, I think we're starting to lose some people here. It doesn't look like we have any questions. So we'll go ahead and end this. Thanks for joining us, everyone. I hope you have an awesome rest of the week. Get out there and sell something. The market's hot.
Yes. Thanks much, guys.
Thanks, Linnea. Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.